Hey everyone, it's Paul Savage from savageuniversity.net, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you the in and outs of finding a profitable product to sell for your online business, whether that's Shopify, Amazon FBA, traditional retail. These tactics will apply. So if you thought I was just going to be showing you how to find a low competition, high demand product with Jungle Scout or Helium 10, then think again. So let's just begin with the definition of product research, because it's the wrong phrase. Product research is the process of determining whether your idea for a new product or service might be successful and how to develop and sell that product. This process begins by investigating the market to see if similar products exist. I didn't even know that I could read that fast, but I might have to enter into speed reading. So what happens is people start saying product research, what product should I sell? Hey, Paul, what product should I sell in 2022 to make 10 grand? Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Really, what we should be saying is this. Aha, that's it. Market research, the action or activity of gathering information about consumers' needs and preferences. How do you develop a product if you have no idea what the needs and preferences of your customer are? So from this point on, I'm going to be saying market research. I am, however, going to title the video product research because that's better for the algorithm. Speaking of the algorithm, do me a favor and hit the like button down below and help me get this video to more people like you. Thank you so much. Now, typically the way that product research would work, again, product research, is you would start here. You would start thinking the product is the most important thing. So we would start up somewhere in black box, maybe products or keyword section. And then what we would end up doing is putting in all sorts of criteria, at least 1,200 people looking for it, right? At least $10,000 per month in sales. What does that do? Well, it's not really going to help us all that much, because all it's going to do is it's going to show us a list of products. Right? Ostrich feathers, cordless glue gun. And what does that have anything to do with your customer's needs or what your customer is going to be enthusiastic about buying from you? Go look up, for instance, the 37 most popular and common hobbies in the world. Martial arts? Okay, already there's an entire enthusiast area with millions of people that participate in it all the time that have products within it. Already we're at a better starting point than if we just went and picked a random product. Now, with the idea of who we're going to be selling to, I can now start researching that person. What needs do they have? What preferences do they have? So I can do boxing tips. Okay, maybe type in something that someone that was trying to learn boxing would be typing in. Now we're starting to identify from the perspective of the customer the thing that people are enthusiastic about. Okay, say I develop a brand new way to practice boxing in a small apartment. I can't, this customer cannot hang a punching bag. They have no room. They can't, go to the gym and spar with anyone. They live in a small town. Through the beauty of the internet and through the beauty of Amazon.com or, your website, I can send them something that they can set up in their office, in their living room, in their kitchen, wherever they have free space, and they can practice sparring or practice boxing. Okay, so they can do their drills on this tool. Now, what do you think happens if all of a sudden down the line, I start introducing the second product in that line? They love the first thing they bought from me. Now the second thing also pertains to the very thing that they were interested in. Well, what that allows me to do is now start building my brand out. So whereas I might have just originally been a random thing of pots on Amazon, right? Maybe I end up more like Bulletproof by, Dave Asprey started this. All related to health, fitness, better energy, more energy, improved lifestyle. So whereas it might have started off with just coffee, we now have probably hundreds. Okay, so you can do the equivalent thing, grow an acquirable asset via starting a brand where people are actually interested in what you're talking about. Well, let me show you a really, really cool trick that you can use. This is from a book called Choose by Ryan Levesque. In this book, he goes into detail. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but he goes into detail about how you need to pick a market that is within this kind of Goldilocks zone for market size, right? It can't be too big or else you drown, and it can't be too small or you can't swim at all. So you need to create a market that, according to Google, fits directly into these guidelines. Notice how these all create kind of a barrier, right? There's a bottom line and a top line. Somewhere within the middle of that zone is the perfect market size. Now he did this through lots of market research. These are always going to stay consistent. So you can do this, okay? Go to Google Trends right now. If we started completely fresh, this is what Google Trends normally looks like. If we were to do something like football, okay, we type in football and it shows us the seasonality of that thing, how much interest there is in it. But what we don't get to see is, well, how big is football relative to something else, right? Because, okay, football's 100. Well, let's put houseplants. Has houseplants ever hit 100? Oh, it actually hits 100 almost twice. So theoretically, within 12 months, houseplants is more common and more searched for than football. And there's no downtime. It's always being searched. However, if we were to compare those two, we now create market size comparison. Okay. So all of a sudden, where we had 100 for houseplants, 100 for houseplants, consistent for houseplants, it was completely flattened. So the size of that market compared to football is way too small. Okay. What I should say is that football is way too big. Houseplants is actually probably not too small. It's probably too big. So in that sense, let's go back to what I was saying. If we go back 2 times and we use our perfect market size system here, again, put in these 4 things. These will never change. These are perfect market sizes. You're going to use them as reference. Improved memory, beekeeping, leadership skills, orchid care. Just keep adding them. It'll create this and then view it in 5 years. Okay. Select 5 years. It'll automatically be on past 12 months. What you're going to do with that information, type in the thing that you have an idea for. So for instance, let's do football. How does it compare to all of those things? Well, not that interesting. The same thing's going to happen. However, what if we did houseplants? Okay, how does that compare to those things? Okay, it's close. It used to actually be pretty close, but as houseplants have gotten more popular, it actually went up quite a bit, and now it's too large. So whereas, 4 years ago, it might have been a good market, well, online, now it's actually a little bit too popular, right? So you would probably drown from the competition. It's too general, a little too common, okay? So you would want this to be quite a bit smaller here. And now it gives you comparison. You could say, okay, the thing I thought I was going to be selling is a little bit too competitive or too large. So what if we did boxing? And here's a tip for you. Since you don't know what to type in here, watch what happens. If I do boxing gloves, well, that's a product specifically. It's really common actually. But what if I did boxing for beginners? It's going to have a completely different graph. So that's very, very low. So to help you with that, type in boxing and see what pops up. And then these are a great place to start. So hopefully by now you can see the importance of choosing a market that people are enthusiastic about, where you can build real brand awareness, a real brand that means something, and eventually build that into an acquirable asset, versus just randomly picking products that are cheap on one site, selling them on another, or just slapping your label on an already existing product and lowering the price. This is clearly a superior strategy and one that is well worth working on over those 2 options. So now that I've explained that in depth, let's go into the computer and show you a little bit about how you would start establishing what products those customers actually want. And really quickly, if you do enjoy this super in-depth over-the-shoulder teaching approach where I help you through each step, I do have a course with about 180 videos in it. I recently reduced the price by quite a bit, so there'll be a link in the description. So now we're back on Amazon where we left off, and why don't we go ahead and type in, let's go with our boxing example. Okay, let's just type in the name of your market and see what pops up. What do people already buy? Okay, now we're going to be using a software called Helium 10, Black Box specifically by Helium 10, or excuse me, X-Ray by Helium 10. This tool is really cool. So it's going to allow us to actually pull up all of the data for the sellers that exist here on the page in order, right? So we have this seller here. It's the first one that shows up right here, the best seller. We can see exactly how much revenue that they are earning. So $361,000 every 30 days selling this freestanding punching bag with boxing gloves. So we can do that for every seller here, right? We can go down the list and literally just look at demand. So if we want to look at pure demand, we could look at what has the highest revenue in this space. And that'll give us a good idea, at least mentally, of what the space looks like. And so we have boxing gloves, obviously. Now, boxing gloves is an interesting one, right? Because it's primarily, you're all set, right? There's huge brands doing it well. No one's super unsatisfied. That's probably somewhere we would want to keep ourselves out of just using common sense and looking at what products exist here. We want to figure out what their needs and preferences are. Now, don't focus too much on competition, but just focus again on the customer. So as we come through here, we have shoes, reflex. Okay, $31,000 per month on just a boxing reflex ball. Now, here's something I like about this. There's not going to be a lot of overhead involved. It's relatively simple to design, and I'm sure this product is somewhat flawed. Right? We could probably make a better way to train reflex that has to do with some system like this. How do we make that something that professionals could endorse, influencers would endorse? This is okay, but I'm sure we can make it better. What you actually do is you figure out what the customers are saying. Okay, reviews are great, but reviews sometimes can be biased because they're loaded with expectation. What can sometimes be better is looking up what the customer would look up before they found this. So best way, again, if you can't see, to train boxing reflex. Training techniques to improve reaction time in boxing. That's exactly what that product is. Slow sparring, focus mitts. Boxes to improve the way they react and learn is practicing motion, slow motion on focus mitts. Okay, shadow box sparring, double end bag. That's true. Those are great. So already, we're getting ideas about products that we wouldn't have if we were focused on what can I think up out of thin air versus what is the customer actually looking for and what are they using a lot of. So now all of a sudden, double end bags, we don't have listings with 5,000 reviews. We have $10,000 per month, $17,000 per month. That's just the anchor for the bag, $10,000 per month. So we're in a pretty good size market now. The product ranges between $20 to $50. Sellers on average are making $10,000 per month. Now, I would encourage you to go get real answers about whether you're on the right path or not. Don't leave it up to chance. Go use something like PickFu, where I don't have any affiliation to them, but basically the way that it works is that you can input a question to a certain audience and pay for real-time responses. So you can essentially survey 100, 200, 300 people that use products like the ones that you want to sell and give you input on things that you're asking. So, hey, we're thinking about launching, a new boxing brand. Here's our 3 primary products we're focused on. Which one of these products do you think needs the most innovation? Which one of these products do you think we should start with and why? Get real feedback from real customers. Let them tell you what they want you to do. Bring the customer along for the journey. So that is going to be all for today, but thank you so much for watching and sticking around to the end. Be sure to like down below if you did enjoy today's video, and I really do appreciate you subscribing. It is entirely free after all. So with that being said, I will see you all in the next video. Later.